Okay, friends and neighbors, this is going to be fun. What are we looking at here? Types of rocks. Well, what are types of rocks? Geology, right? We all know sedimentary and igneous and metamorphic and all these other names they have for them. But what are they made out of? How did they form in these forms? Well, it laid down thousands and millions of years and this and that. And well, let's delve into those claims. I don't think that any of that's right. This is all biology. As soon as you start digging into this, you can't miss it. So let's dig. All right, the first thing I'm going to show you is basalt, because this is going to blow your mind when I show it to you. I got some in the microscope right now, and I will show you geology's take on this basalt with plagial clays. I'll show you. All right, this is what I told you. You're going to learn chemistry as we go through this, because every rock basically is coated with feldspar. Feldspar is the name given to a group of naturally occurring aluminosilicate. Remember that, aluminosilicate. I'll tell you why it's important in a minute. Aluminosilicate minerals. They contain varying amounts of potassium, sodium, calcium, lithium, so forth. The feldspar group of minerals is by far the most abundant group of minerals in the Earth's crust, making out about 50% of all rocks. That's yes and no. Feldspar coats all those rocks because the feldspar is membranes. That's what it is, aluminum silicates. You see right here, aluminum silicates? Well, what's right above that? P, phosphorus. Well, what is P, Roger? Well, it's phosphorus. What is phosphorus? That's what membranes are made out of. They're bilipid, phospholipid layers. They're made out of phosphorus. So when they boil down to aluminum silicates, and they could have some other things with them. But that's what all of this feldspar is about. And this is coated with feldspar. This is all coated with feldspar. All of this is feldspar. This is feldspar. And I'm going to show you why this is so important, because I'm going to show you this in a microscope. And up here, I don't know if you can see this up above, but you see this? See that right there? Those are what they call plagioclases, those little white things, and the background is the basalt. And they say it's volcanic and this and that. Well, let's discuss those details. Okay, get ready for this. This is the microscope. This is a small iron lung, and everything boiled off except the iron, which stayed. It's turned into iron. And there's the red blood inside of alveoli that exploded when it came through space. And you see how black it is there? Hold on, I can come closer to this. And you see those little white fibers. Oops, hold on, this is... What you're going to see is these little bitty white fibers. You see them? Now that cooked off, but the white fibers are there. Now, I'm going to pan over here to another one I have here. This is what they look like when they're really intact. Well, they call them plagioclases. And they're on top of what they call basalt. Now, I'm going to show you what both of these things are, and they are biology. The one that's in the microscope is a lung, and that is just almost impossible to dismiss. It's a lung. You see all those little holes there, those little round tubes? Those are what they call alveoli. And it's all through the whole lung has those. Well, they're filled up with blood normally, because that's where the blood passes by the alveoli and picks up the oxygen. So it boiled and exploded, that's all. I've looked at this very, very closely. And there's the latch right there that I always talk about. See it right there? Right there. There's no question that's a lung. Now, it boiled off coming through space. But those little white fibers are the same little white fibers as these. Now this also came through space, I believe, and cooked it off and left these white fibers. I'd love to know what the exact chemistry of those is. Why wouldn't they burn up? They're perfectly white. And the same thing on the lung. The lung, everything you turned black, you could see it. And it turned to iron, and they didn't. Now here's some, this is called fascia. It's connective tissue. It's the gooey stuff that runs between muscles and tendons and all this. It's like it keeps you together. Let me see what else I got. I got all kinds of pictures of every kind of thing. It's all biology. Look at this one. That's clotting fiber starting to grow down inside of an artery. This is just, I'm just scanning through here. They just don't mean much. This is all blood vessels. This is another lung. This is not the one I just showed you. I did believe, I don't know. It's hard to tell. I forget. Anyway, let's change gears here. Hold on a second. All right, if you got any heart condition or anything, you might want to go take some medication, because this is a shocker du jour. What are we looking at here? Well, I'm not going to tell you for a minute or two. What we're looking at there is exactly what we're looking at here. It's a fabric, and I'll put them both in a microscope. That one is already in the microscope, and that is, my friends, a shocker du jour. That is a membrane. Now let me turn off the light here and adjust this light. All right, look at this. You see these straps? These are the straps. And in the lung, they're just everywhere, because the lung is just a big fabric bag. This is actually a membrane. This is one of the bilipid layers of the membrane. There's two layers. And I can show you both, and there's a separation between, which is a fluid-filled highway. So this is all the membranes, all entangled, only they've been what it's called nucleophilic substitution. Some other molecules of metals came in and took over that organic material, turned it into these fibers of metals. Let me just clean this up a little better so you can see that. This is just phenomenal. This blew my mind when I saw this. You see this? These are those fibers. And what fibers am I talking about? These fibers right here. Same fibers. Only this never changed the way that one did. You see, but the same fibers. Exact same fibers. Now, I'm going to show you this other one. This is just mind-blowing. Every day, I'm finding stuff that I missed long ago. I should have picked up on it, and I didn't. I had so many things coming at me. I was getting overwhelmed, and I still am overwhelmed, to be perfectly honest with you. Because everything has to be looked at again, now that I have a pretty good understanding of everything I'm seeing. But these are all those fibers. These are those fibers. But this one turned to metal. Well, wait till I turn the lights on and show you what this one looks like compared to the lung. And again, this one's just a membrane. This is just unbelievable. Again, I went back and I'm seeing everything I missed. This right here is a fascia. And there's those little fibers. And this is a little blood vessel going in there, or artery or something. Something goes through there, through the membrane. That's an acceptable entrance. But there are ones that aren't acceptable. Now, I'm going to show you, like I said, a bilipid layer. Hold on. All right, this is just beyond belief. This is a lung, and it's a human lung too, because I had a DNA tested and CAT scanned, and it's anatomically exactly identical to what you would expect. And this is the rubber bag that the lung is in. It just has to do this. This is the fabric. And that's that fascia stuff I talked about. And this is a bilipid membrane that coats this thing. The bilipid means two layers. All right, and there's 2 layers of phosphorus basically, and then there's fats and stuff in the center. And guess what? There it is right there. That's the one I just showed you. This is one side, has all those little fibers in there. They've turned to metal, whatever this was in. And here's the other side. It has the same thing, phosphorus. You see the silveriness to it? And in the middle is the membrane, and there's silveriness on the top. That would have protected some creature's body from being invaded, the membrane. This is off the wall crazy. I'm not saying it isn't. There's no question it is. But if you could just dismiss it because it's off the wall crazy, well, I have to dismiss your ability to understand what you see. Because it is what you see. It's what you see is what you get. All right, I got this one right here under the microscope, and I got the red blood area here. I'm going to show you that. And you know, when I talk about the microscope and you see the thing is way up here, this is a telescoping microscope. So you can get really, really close and you can get a little farther away, but you get excellent imaging. It's in, I don't know, it's got something to do with the way they image it. I don't know. All right, here it is up here. And like I say, I'm down into a bloody area right there. Now, you get a lot of different changes when you change the lighting of this. All right, you see the red blood? That's just red blood. The rest is that fabric. But that fabric now has taken on metals and converted it into like little metal fibers. Now, I don't have anything to do with the chemistry to test it, but I can see what it is. That's exactly what it is. Now, I'm going to turn it over because this is the inside where the blood hits up against that. Then you have the 2 layers. All right, you see, I'm coming up through the 2 layers. Well, you can't see that good. But now I'm at the top. And this would be the outside of the membrane. You see how you can see the fibers much better. You don't have any blood out here to speak of, though. What you're seeing out here is the coating that was the outside layer. All right, think about this one more time. I'm going to tip it over again in a second. This is the outside membrane. Then you have the bilip, the fats inside, and then you have the lower membrane. So don't forget, this is what you got right there. As a matter of fact, I think I have some shots of this. Hold on. Okay, if you're not new to me, you'll have seen this and understand it. This is the bilipid membrane. The bottom is phosphorus, the top is phosphorus, the middle is gooey stuff. It's a fluid-filled highway, and it runs through the whole body. It's called the interstitium now. And guess how big that can get? You see that? Don't forget, that's a membrane. A membrane just wraps around a body organ or something like that. That's how big it is on the beach. These are those little balls. These are the ion channels, the protein channels that let things in and out. That's how big this creature was, and that's like a 6-foot thick layer. Here it is here. You see this? This is Tyson Carlson. You know, he's a friend of mine. We talk back and forth. I don't really work with him or anything. He's sort of on his own, and he's doing a fabulous job. He knows what he's doing. He digs in deep. He's no fool. I was discussing something with another guy in a video that had turned me on to a tendon, giant tendon out here. And I put it out, and Tyson saw it. He said, wow. He got together with Scott Wiles, and they went out and they looked at that. And now Scott has moved on. He's moved to Florida and here and there. He's all over the place. But Tyson's still out here, and he's doing a lot of work out there, doing a nice job. And you see this? See these membranes? Think about this carefully. You got to look at details. You see these things, that little layer around it? What is that all about? What's this little layer all about? What's this? When this was alive, it's got to move. It's got to jiggle. It's got to do this. It's got to do that. And twist and over and bend. They were glued together with what is called loose slurpees, small leucine-rich proteins, and they would glue these. So to stay as a mat, you couldn't get through it. The only way you get through is through the ion channels. And here's the top layer. So this is 2 layers, 1 layer here, 1 layer here. In between is the fluid-filled highway. And these were what they call tight junctions. They were supposed to be. If they're not tight, that's when you get invaded. And this is chemistry, so I go to chemistry for everything. Chemistry is, that's why I say you got to understand a little bit of you got to understand a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of this, but it all starts to build together as you learn. You don't learn everything in one day and then that's it, because then you're just going to forget it. Now, this is again Tyson. This is a tendon ball right here. You see that little strap? Now, sometimes we don't agree on things, and that's okay. That's what it's all about. And again, I don't really work with him. I just discuss things back and forth. And I like the stuff he does. But that, to me, that's a little strap, and it went down, and it anchors somewhere. And that is part of the skin. So the skin can move this way or that way and this way, but it will always come back to where that was anchored. That's my take on that. Now, I don't know, but I think he has a different take on that. So, that's what it is. Now, this is Huntington Beach. I just got some fabulous shots from Neil over there, and he went right up. They said 2 inches away. He took the. Wait till I show you that stuff. I'm going to save that for the next video. But anyway, these are the tendon balls right here. These are those little I call them tendon balls. They're enthesis anchors of collagens. They're collagen fiber anchors, and they have all these little straps running from them. And then the straps lock in, so you can pull and twist and jiggle and do all that kind of stuff, and you come back to where you started from, hopefully. Now, this is nothing more than skin. This is skin. And right in there is the fluid-filled highway down in here. And these balls were in this interstitium area, and they just eroded out. Those are balls. Now, he's got one he brought back with him. Neil did. He's going to smack it open and get me some more information about that, I believe. And this is what I mean. I have more people helping me than anybody in the world. And you see these? Look at this. These are all the same things. Look at the way up here. They're everywhere. They're everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Because this was skin. That was skin. Now, why are they green and why are they growing moss? Because those balls are loaded with biology. And all this stuff loves that biology. And that's why these are all growing. Where did I go? This one here. These are little sea creatures, and whatever they are, growing into that ball. And this one here, I think right there, is where the strap had gone in originally. You see that little circle there? Because it's going to give you more fluids from where it breaks. And I believe that's the strap where that one was going in from. And anyway, hopefully Neil will get a good one and we'll see something. All right, this is going to be a killer, right, when I get the rest of the information from Neil. This is a Huntington Beach, like I showed you. Now, he got right up close. He's got shots here. I know exactly what this is doing. I know exactly what the biology is. This is fabulous. This is what I mean. I have people that I can get some good information from. And they're having a good time. I'm having a good time. It's free. Everybody gets it for free. All right. As I told you, the Neil Lonergan is sending me some fabulous, fabulous shots of Huntington Beach. And nobody's going to understand this until they get this kind of information and have my kind of understanding. Like these little blocks here, they're not there for nothing. Not like that, and this hole right here, and this one over here, and this one here. This I understand what it is. And nobody else is gonna. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's very confusing to the average mind. Well, to anybody's mind, there is no average to this. And they say, well, it's sedimentary, this and that, and that. And no. These blocks, I understand those. I understand the layering. I understand the coloring. I understand, how that works with biology. And it works fine. You see the layer right there? I didn't just separate for nothing. This layer. And then you go in that layer, and then there's another layer and another layer. There's layers like coming out of your ears. Because that's what membranes do. They have to layer you off of invasion. That's what a membrane does. So, give me one thing to collect my thoughts, and we'll probably sign this thing off. All right, here's where you got to know a little chemistry, a little biology. This is a lung. That's a lung. And why is it all metal now? Like an iron lung? This is a meteorite. It's gigantic. It's absolutely huge. And when it came through space, it heated up so hot. It had to go above like 3,000 degrees or so. And all of the easily to burn off stuff just burnt off. And what was left was the structural stuff made out of the metals, because the metals took over. They didn't burn off. Now this is a terrestrial lung, but basically the same thing. And there's iron in this. It's saturated with iron. Now all of the fascia and all that stuff has just fallen off. I don't know why this did what it did, but it's a lung. And it didn't come through space. It just disintegrated for some chemical reason, and I was trying to evaluate that now. But at any rate, this is that. Same thing. Same thing. All right, and if it never lost any of its coating, it would have been this, not coming through space. All right, and then it's flat as a pancake because it died in a flood. And this is DNA tested, CAT scanned, human. All right, and that's fascia. And that fascia is feldspar, and the feldspar is aluminum silicates. And aluminum silicates boil down from the phospholipid membranes. Aluminum silicates coat virtually everything. It's feldspar. They say if you can find a rock without feldspar on it, it's an abnormality. All right, I showed you what the interstitium looks like. Let me turn off this light. And maybe even this one. I don't know if you can see that well or not, but that is basically the interstitium fibers and so forth. And the gooey stuff that's in the membrane walls. You see there's a fiber right there. This, I think this came through space. And wait till I show you what the other side looks like. The other side is actually right there. I don't even have to turn it over. That's the other side right here. These are those plagioclase fibers. And I'm going to tell you what this thing is in the microscope. Let's look down at it. Let me turn lights back on here and there so we can get a good look at this. And we're going to come right down there and look at it and try to figure out what we have. Because I can tell you right now, I already have. All right. This, my friends, oh man, is this thing heavy, is a meteorite. But it's not just the ordinary meteorite. This is a giant toe. That's the toenail right there. And there's a blob of blood that blows out. I'll show you what the arteries and veins look like. Now, how do I know it's a toe? And I know it's a big toe. Now, it's a big toe from a left foot. He said, oh, come on, Roger. Yes. And the reason I know is this is the callus. That's the callus. Look at that sucker. That's a callus. You see that? Ooh. And these are all those little fibers I was showing you from before. You see all the little fibers? And this thing came through space and cooked off in space. That's why all of the fleshy stuff is gone. We're down to the interstitium. And like even that little bump is on the back of your toe too. All right, it's on the other side of the callus. Well, this is, you know, it's funny. I have a callus on one toe and not on the other. I don't know. Maybe that's something you could help me with. Now, this fabric wraps right around. Watch this. They used to call it tunica, ancient Greeks. You see that? That's a fabric. It wraps right around and straps right around and locks in to hold this thing together. This right here, you see that black spot right there? That's the vein. And they don't do that. They do not do that. That's blown backwards. They do not do that. The reason this did it is because it got cooked. Coming through space, it heated up, got real hot, and all the black blood, which never goes out. Usually it's got valves. They don't ever usually come out. It blew out through the side here too. This is all black blood. That's the vein blood. And it blew back here, just from the heat. This is that scuffy little type of skin you have right between the big toe and the next toe over. All right, so, oh man, that sucker is heavy. So there's your callus. There's your fingernail. This is where the blood is here on that side, and it blows out. Now, in fingers and toes, you have one side comes in red, and the other side comes, one side comes in red, and then the black side goes back to the heart to get pumped around. It's fixed. Same thing here. One comes in, and the other one comes back. And that's what I was just showing you right there. All right, so that makes sense to you? This is the vein, and the vein is supposed to always come back this way. The artery comes down. The artery goes anywhere where it wants. And you can see the fingernail. I'm sure you can. All right, and they would call this a plagioclase basalt rock. Well, somebody was calling it a toe at one time. All right, get ready for this. This is the basalt right here, this one here. I'm telling you, that's a big toe that came through space, and I have it in a microscope. This is what they call this type of basalt with these fibers, plagioclases. These right here are those plagioclases. You see those little white fibers? Now pay close attention to what you see. This is the thing that makes you a good observer, or just a guy flashing his eyes at something. What do you see here? What's that? What's this? I'm seeing blood vessels. That's the center and that's the outside. There was some kind of little membrane around there, and there's blood vessel running through there. There was blood. You have to be serviced everywhere in the body with blood. I'm seeing these fibers. I'm seeing these basalt fibers. Exactly what they call plagioclase. It's all over this thing. And it burnt off coming. That's the only way you can get this black like this. But what troubles me is why they stayed so white. And I got something about the chemistry. Hold on. Well, this is not what I thought we'd see anything about the plagioclases, but this is important for you to understand. Remember I told you aluminosilicates? That's SiO2 and aluminum 2O3. It makes up 52 and 17. That's 70% plus of everything is aluminum silicates, and they all have it. And then you got your iron oxides, which is your from the blood. Magnesium, calcium, sodium, all of that stuff. All right, pay close attention now. You see these black spots? And you could see some little reddish looking areas. But this, I'm sure, was a river rock and really got flushed. Now these black spots are the vein blood, and they don't flush out. Now all the little white pieces are the plagioclases. Now I have my iron meteorite, my big toe meteorite there, and here it is in a microscope. It's exactly the same, except it didn't get flushed out. So we still got the red blood is in there and not completely washed out. But this is all black spots, and this is all plagioclases, and there's still some red blood in this one, because this one just came and cooked off. It boiled out a little bit of where the red blood is, but in watery rivers and creeks and stuff like that, it'll eventually wash that out, completely be gone. The red is literally mobile forever. All right, I think I'm going to leave it at this. In the comments, if I get a valid comment and I can comment about it, I will. And I would talk about it in the next video, because if I didn't make something clear, I want to make it clear. Now, these basalts, they call them, the basalt with those little white fibers in them that I showed you before, they call them alphanitic igneous extrusive volcanic rocks. Basalts are composed of minute grains of plagioclase feldspar, generally labradorite, pyroxene, olivine, biotite, hornblende, and less than 20% quartz. Nepheline or leucite may associate or proxy the feldspar, giving rise to varieties with special names. And it's the feldspar attaches to other to atoms to form, feldspar silicates. They're not always exactly the same thing. And the reason is whatever that membrane was coating, it had to have a special chemistry. If it was a liver, you had to have a very certain type of chemistry to keep the toxins in to the liver. You don't want them leaking out. And if it was a membrane in your gut, you want it to be able to leak things in and leak things out. So everything's going to have different properties of how they petrify or turn into stone. And it all happens because of this great, long soaking. First of all, it started out boiling hot flood because of Venus almost hitting Earth. It concussed the atmosphere so violently that it forced all of the molecules of water, first of all the gases, to turn into water, but boiling, and all over the Earth. Boiling water, and in addition to that, it was the heat of this thing coming at us. This is as big as our own planet. And when it concussed off of our atmosphere, it literally stopped the Earth from spinning. These are the ancient stories, and I see all the evidence to support it. And the Earth, because it was getting pushed back at. So the Earth's going this way, something's coming at it, it's going, and all of the water just went all over the Earth, and they came up with these silicates, and that's part of the feldspar, aluminum silicates. That's the salacious ooze, they call it, on the bottom of the ocean. We got a lot of stuff to do to think about. That's why we're just thinking. There's no criminal activity going on here. We're just thinking about, is there supporting evidence? And there seems to be just tons of it. So I'm going to leave it at that for today. And like I say, this is going to be a very, very long series of literally everything. Literally everything that we have been taught, I want to examine. It might be right, it might be perfectly right. Well, it might not be right at all. We'll find out. We'll think about it. Because I don't have all the answers. I got a little to add here, a little add there. And then people help me, and I help them, and they think, I think. And then so I ask them, can you do this, can you try that? And they do it. Because they want to understand. This is what education is. All right, so I love you all. Let's stay on top of this, and let your mind wander into these unknowns, because this is unknown. I don't care who you are. This is unknown. All right, we shall talk again, my good friends.